for the development of the people of Andhra Pradesh. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me as I welcome the Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Shri Y.S. Jagan Reddy Garu. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. On behalf of the people of Andhra Pradesh and on behalf of all the industrialists, the industry leaders, business leaders and entrepreneurs who are gathered here today, I would like to thank you for creating an atmosphere for both development and dialogue, of which was born the Development Dialogue of Andhra Pradesh 2024. May I request you, sir, to please engage with the audience and tell them more about this initiative in your own words.
Distinguished industry leaders, colleagues in the state cabinet, and esteemed guests. I think koncham Telugu, koncham English, I think I'll go together. It's, target audience is just not some of the people present here. But I'd like to take this message all across the state of Andhra Pradesh. So a little bit of a mix and balance between English and Telugu would be the pitch that I would be taking. I'm happy to welcome you all to the Vision Visakha program. In fact, today all of us are gathered here to discuss about what Visakhapatnam means to all. Why does the state need Visakhapatnam? It's indeed a fact. Post bifurcation, the successor state, that is the current state of Andhra Pradesh, has rendered a more an agrarian one. In fact, if one were to compare the figures of what the average contribution of primary sector into GSDP were to be at the national level when compared to the agriculture sector, we would come across a figure of 17 to 18% at the national level. Whereas when it comes to our state, we're talking about a figure of 35%. On one side, it is a projection that we are an agrarian state. But on the other side, it poses a challenge that no state can survive with these numbers until and unless the secondary and the tertiary sectors grow. And the contribution of the primary sector, that the agriculture sector, comes down. That means the growth should take place in such a way that the secondary sector and the tertiary sector continues to grow in a much faster pace than the agriculture sector. Only then we would be in a position to address the challenges that are posed. Only then you would see better growth rates. Only then you would see a situation where you can talk about economic boost. In fact, so much so is the challenge posed by the bifurcation that in fact we have lost out on Hyderabad. Now, why is it that Hyderabad is so very important to us? And why is it that we losing Hyderabad has an impact on the state? Every state, for it to progress, you need to have an economic engine. And that economic engine, for decades, to our erstwhile state, was Hyderabad. In fact, to give a perspective, the central government those days used the public sector as the main vehicle to stimulate economic growth. In fact, if we were to see the institutions such as IDPL, NMDC, NFC, IICT, and so forth, they were all set up in Hyderabad. Because of the fact that public sector undertakings, these huge investments, came up in Hyderabad, Hyderabad as an area grew beyond any other place in the state. That is the reason why, but once these kind of institutions come up, then automatically it leads to a transformation. Leads to better salaried employees coming out of that location, coming out of that place, which in turn leads to a cyclic effect where better institutions would come up, overall economic growth takes place, and then the city starts moving and growing. Unfortunately for us, it so happened that 90% of the entire PSUs, which to the erstwhile state of Andhra Pradesh, have all come up only in Hyderabad. And because of that, Hyderabad grew at a much faster pace than any other place in the state. In fact, so much so that the services sector in Telangana, for instance, is now currently positioned at a 62.87%, the tertiary sector, whereas the national average is 55%. And in the tertiary state of Andhra Pradesh, we stand at mere 40%. So the agriculture sector, what should be at 17% as a national average, we are at 35%. The services sector, which is the tertiary sector, which should have actually been at 55%, which is the national average, we are at 40%, whereas Telangana is at 62.87% of the state's GSDP comes from just the services sector, that is the tertiary sector, and predominantly from Hyderabad. So until and unless you have a similar kind of situation, the Andhra Pradesh's economy, we will never see the rise of the services sector. It's only the manufacturing sector that is, we are on par with the national average, which is 25%, which is the secondary sector. But there is a huge thrust that should be put in the tertiary sector, which should grow leaps and bounds, which is the services sector. And our dependence on agriculture gradually should come down, per se not meaning to say that the growth should come down. The growth in agriculture sector is per se not much. You do not see the kind of numbers what you see in the services sector. So it's very important for any particular state to grow. It's very important that the secondary sector, that is the services sector, that is the tertiary sector, should grow leaps and bounds. In fact, owing to this reason, the per capita income of Andhra Pradesh